Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Circus Boganza of Afflicted Moon in Vedic Astrology. And today we are going to talk about as what is considered an afflicted moon in your horoscope. You know, there's a lot of people who have a lot of aspects, conjunctions, moon situated in a certain place, certain sign. You want to know if a certain moon is afflicted or not. And there's actually literally 20, 30 more examples I should give of, afflicted moon example, but I have chosen 9 because of the time frame, because of how much I can actually do here. So what we're going to do is that we're going to look at charts, and I'm going to talk about, why is this moon afflicted and why this isn't. And what you're going to see is you're going to see planets and signs, and there will be a degree right next to the planets in a light blue color. So, okay. So anyway, if you do not know if your moon is afflicted or if your moon is saved, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report that tells you exactly the degree of your planets, including your moon and other planets that are going to be involved in making moon into kind of a depressive state, okay? And you also want to check out my books that you're going to need to know about aspects, conjunction, and basic astrology here at the link too. And this is very important because you're going to want to know exactly if your moon is afflicted or not. All these little details matter. And also, we're going to look at, well, if we have time, we'll talk about 4th house. Because on my Facebook page, I was talking about how I was looking at doing career consultation for people. And a lot of them who kind of moved out of the country or, kind of weren't happy in the country were either had their moon damaged or the 4th house damaged. And yet they did better in foreign lands. And that's something that I've noticed over the years, that anytime your 4th house is damaged and your moon is afflicted, shows that the mind is not going to be settled at homeland. Mind will find its peace in foreign lands. Mind will find its peace when the energy of the planets gets away from your mind. Because remember, when you were born in a certain country, those planets were aspecting your moon, right? And you're right there, right? And it's affecting you 24/7, the planetary rays and the aura that you have created from the moment you were born. Now, but if you move away from that place, it makes a difference. May not make 100% difference, but it makes a huge difference. Where if you were to, be depressed, have no money, no career in your home country, moving to a completely separate country across the sea may actually give you a job paying 15 to 20 bucks an hour, may give you a wife or a husband, maybe not so good looking, maybe not so, good in their behavior, but it's a marriage, and they will give you one child. Instead of nothing, you get something. This is why it's important to know this stuff, okay? So let's go to our charts and we'll talk about, the aspects and the moons and all of that. So yeah, just remember, you have to know aspects. You have to know how to read a birth chart. You have to know about conjunctions and degrees. And all of these things are so easy. They may sound really hard and tough like an algebra or calculus. I would be running away from it if I heard the word calculus, but it's not. And I've actually made a video on how to read a birth chart. So you can't say, oh, I don't know how to read it. Oh, can you tell me how to do this? No, it's a 5-minute process. Go watch the video. It's like literally ABCD. I've made it so easy. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I got my charts here on my cell phone in a picture. So you're going to see the same chart on the screen. So you see this Sagittarius ascendant, okay? And you see that moon is sitting in the 4th house in a sign of Pisces, because that number 12 shows the Pisces sign. And moon is at 19 degrees, and moon is getting an aspect from Mars, Saturn, and Rahu, 3 malefic planets. So then you want to ask yourself, is this moon afflicted? Is this moon damaged at all? Okay? And my answer is, in this case, because look, Mars is aspecting moon from the 4th house, malefic planet. Saturn is aspecting moon from the 2nd house, malefic planet. And then Rahu's aspecting moon from the 12th house in the sign of Scorpio, malefic planet. But is it afflicted? The answer is no, it's not afflicted. Why is it not afflicted? Well, you did not pay attention, Sonny, bro, dude, to that little number in light blue that gives you the degrees of the planet. Because each aspect in astrology gets its power and strength through how close it looks at the other planet. So let's look at this. Saturn, okay, Mars looks at your moon, okay, from the with his fourth house aspect, because Mars aspects the 4th, 7th, and 8th place. Mars is at 14 degree, moon is at 19 degree. That's a 5-degree difference. Okay, now is this afflicted? Well, first of all, this is a huge misconception. Mars does not afflict moon. Mars does not make moon depressed. Remember, Mars actually agitates the moon. It makes the moon aggressive, competitive, angry. So this Mars you want to have. You want to have an aspect of Mars on the moon. With this 4th aspect on the moon will be energizing the moon. The mind will be active. The mind will be like wanting to compete out there in the business world, in the workforce world. So never look at Mars as a negative aspect unless there's this one situation which I'll tell you later. Now, Saturn aspects your moon. And Saturn actually aspects with pretty close degrees from the 2nd house. Saturn is at 17 degrees, moon is at 19 degrees, 2-degree difference. Is this Saturn afflicting the moon? No, it's not afflicting the moon. The reason why it's not afflicting the moon, because first of all, Saturn is looking at moon from its sign of Capricorn. Sign of Capricorn is what? It's about hard work. It's about status and discipline. What this Saturn is doing with this 3rd aspect is actually giving the moon ability to work, compete, and be having a strong willpower. It gives the moon a mind that needs to have status of wealth and power. This Saturn's put determination into the moon. So it's not afflicted. Okay? So this Saturn is actually doing good for the moon, not bad. So just because you have Saturn aspecting your moon from the 2nd to the 3rd house, and you're asking, why is it that I do not see the same thing? Well, this is why. Or if you do see it, which I will explain later too. Now, Rahu aspects moon with his 5th aspect from the sign of Scorpio in the 12th house. Now, is this afflicting the moon? Not really, no. It's not afflicting the moon. Why? Look at the degrees of Rahu. It's at 6 degrees. Moon is at 19 degrees. There's a huge difference. If Rahu was within 5 degrees or 7 degrees, I should say, if Rahu was within 7 degrees, it would really be afflicting the moon. The moon would have, the person would dream about ghosts and things that are not real or things that may haunt the person. Their mind is always like into the dream world because of the fact moon is in the Pisces sign, a water sign. So moon is already emotional, and then you got Rahu aspecting moon from Scorpio, giving like a tsunami wave. But it's not so bad because Rahu is really not even affecting moon's outer boundaries. Okay, so this chart is not afflicted. Now let's look at next chart. Same thing in the next chart. Is this moon afflicted? This moon, I would say, is afflicted, but not to the degree as it should be. Because all the degrees are same, all the planetary positions are same. The only thing that you see is that Rahu aspects moon within 3-degree difference. So there's just 3-degree difference, like Rahu's just right there looking. And from the sign of Scorpio, Rahu gives a lot of chaotic dreams regarding death, dead bodies. You always feel panicked. You always feel like someone is watching you. And then, since this moon is a sign of water in the 4th house, the happiness kind of is taken over by the illusion. However, this person will still not feel it to the extent as it should. Because all the other planets are giving determination to the moon. All the planets are giving fire into the moon. So the person will be like, all right, fine. I get these dreams. Like, I used to get paralysis. Okay, I haven't anymore because I did the whole remedy thing, but it didn't affect me. It's not like I'm going to stop working and, be lazy and not do anything in my life. It didn't, it was just a little bit afflicting me, not too much. So now we're going to go to the 3rd example. You with me? You with me, Sunny? All right, here we go. So now we're going to be looking at the third chart. Now, this third chart, what will you say? Is this afflicted or no? In this case, this chart, yes, moon is afflicted. Moon feels depressed. Moon feels like there's somebody out there to get them. Moon feels too much responsibility. Moon feels, sudden chaotic thoughts, And so now we're going to explain to you why. First, Mars again aspects Moon, because remember, Mars has the 4th, 7th, and 8th aspect. Mars aspects Moon. Mars is at 18 degrees, 1 degree difference. But now you must be wondering that, oh my God, this Mars is putting determination into the Moon. Yes, but actually this Mars is giving Moon sudden burst of anger, chaos in the mind. Why? This is why you should read my aspects book. Because 8th aspect of Mars brings sudden chaoticness, sudden transformation. It shows that the mind is feeling chaotic. 4th house shows protection. Moon wants to protect. Whenever Moon has the 4th aspect of Mars, I can clearly see that this person is a protector. They just want to protect things, whether it be a soldier, policeman, mother, whoever, a guardian. They want to protect. With the 8th aspect of Mars, either the person is very cunning, goes around people and, screws people, or gets screwed by their own thoughts, by their own demonic thoughts. And another reason why this Moon is afflicted is because Rahu aspects Moon from the 12th house again with his 9th aspect. So Rahu from 12th house looks at the Moon with less than 3 degrees. So again, chaotic thoughts. And sudden bursts of stuff is happening here. And Saturn is now looking at the 8th house. Even though Saturn is its own sign and gives determination to the Moon, it's looking at Moon in the 8th house. So now Moon is feeling responsibility. You see, this is why it's kind of like a chess game. Just a little bit of changes and the Moon may not be afflicted. But in this case, Moon afflicted. Okay. Now let's look at the 4th chart. In the 4th chart, you again have a Sagittarius ascendant. You see that Mars is in the 1st house, Ketu is in the 3rd house, Rahu is in the 9th house, Saturn is in the 5th house, Moon is in the 7th house. Is this Moon being afflicted? Yes, this Moon is being afflicted. But to what degree? I would say this Moon may not feel crazy, but this Moon feels lazy. This Moon is a procrastinator. This Moon, this person's mind gets influenced by other people a lot. And they have a hard time understanding which is right, what is wrong. So when they do business or something, they make wrong decisions. Now, why? First of all, is Moon afflicting, Mars afflicting the Moon? No. Because remember, Mars is looking at the 7th degree of Moon. And Mars is is at very close degree, so tight degree. However, this Mars, although it's adding a lot of competitive spirit and a lot of willpower into the person in the mind, the same Mars though is showing that this person wants to dominate other people, whether it's in conversation, spouse, because Mars is 7th aspect. 7th aspect of any aspect is like their relationship to other people. Mars is aggression. Moon is your mind. Aggression of mind towards other people. So this person tries to control other people. Next, you have Ketu looking at Moon from the 3rd house. And Ketu, okay, let me go back to the chart again. Stupid me, I lost it. So Ketu is looking at Moon at 16 degree. So now this Ketu is looking at Moon. What does it do? 3rd house is a Bhavad Bhavam of the 8th house. 3rd house is still kind of a slight malefic house. It requires you to work, put your effort into something. It is the house that is also as chaotic as the 8th house sometimes. And with Ketu being there, the chaotic planet closely aspecting the Moon, shows that the Moon definitely feels depressed and burdened by responsibilities, by how much effort it puts into things and it doesn't reap the results of it. Then you have Saturn aspecting Moon within 2 degrees from the 5th house in the sign of Aries. Now here's the tricky part. Saturn is debilitated in Aries, right? Is it? Not really, no. Saturn is debilitated between 17 and 22 degrees of Aries, because Saturn is really debilitated at 20th degree of Aries. So it's at 17th degree, it's going to its maximum debilitation. And then it's looking at the Moon in the sign of Gemini. Air sign where Moon is always thinking, always thoughts here and there, okay? So now this Saturn is becoming very lazy in the 5th house of education and children. Now what this Saturn does, it shows that the person feels really lazy towards education. The person has very much lack of creative skills. And the person's mind is everywhere, scattered. And remember in my book, Astrology at the Speed of Light, where I have happy and sad scenario, where the aspect is happy and sad. So if Saturn is depressed, Saturn is lazy, old, like an old man looking at Moon. Moon just feels lazy. It's like you're being affected by the energy of your roommates and neighbors. And that's what's happening. So this is pretty much an afflicted Moon. However, it is not so afflicted. A person can still come out of it. It's just that this person might actually be doing what they're doing. They may not get at the education. Okay, they may not have the proper education, the proper things in life. But by manipulating other people or being dominating to other people, they might accomplish something, which is not a good characteristic. So this is why I still deem it pretty negative Moon. Okay, let's look at another one. So now you see a chart with Cancer ascendant. Okay, and with Cancer ascendant, Moon is in the 12th house in the sign of Gemini at 19 degrees again. Then you have Saturn aspects the Moon from the 10th house in the sign of Aquarius at 17 degrees. Saturn is debilitated. You have Mars aspecting Moon with its 8th aspect from the 5th house in the sign of Scorpio. And then you have Ketu aspecting the Moon from the 8th house within 3 degree difference. Is this afflicted Moon? Oh yeah, this is a very afflicted Moon. This person could be bipolar, schizophrenic. This person could just have a huge, like repetitive or redundant panic attacks. They feel something is coming after them and something may not be coming after them. They have bad dreams. They have ghostly experiences in their life. Okay, this is, and as I explained to you in the last time, I don't want to go in there too much as to why it's happening. Because remember, Saturn is debilitated at its maximum degree. Now, let's say if in this case, Moon was at 5 degrees Gemini, and Saturn was at 6 degrees Aries sign. Is this Moon afflicted? If we're just talking about Moon and Saturn relationship, no, that Moon is not afflicted. This Saturn then will put a lot of aggressiveness towards the Moon, competitiveness towards the Moon. This Moon will become workaholic. Why? Because Saturn is in Aries, but it's not debilitated in Aries. It's supposed to be debilitated at a certain degree. This is why some people say, well, I have Saturn in Aries. How come I don't have this? I have Saturn in Libra. It's exalted, but I'm not experiencing things. It's all about degrees, you guys. Degrees. Okay? So let's look at another one. Now it gets interesting. Is this chart debilitated? Same thing. All I have added is that Jupiter is looking at the Moon from the 4th house at 20th degree. Okay? Now in this case, the person is not fully crazy or fully experiencing the bad side of the Moon, because now Jupiter's blessings are saving the Moon. Any aspect of Jupiter, regardless of the fact is if Jupiter is functional malefic or functional benefic or debilitated or exalted, Jupiter always wants to bless whatever it sees. It's like a guru. Let's say if Guru Nanak was, sick. He is sick, he is about to die, and yet he looks at you before he dies. That stare towards you will bless your entire life, because Guru Nanak is Guru Nanak. He can be in any situation. He could be quadriplegic and he could be looking at you, but his blessings are the gift of the gods. And because he was an avatar. And if he looks at you in any way, shape, or form, you should feel lucky. Same thing with Jupiter. Jupiter aspect on the Moon makes the Moon feel lucky. Okay? So now, in this case, is this chart afflicted? Not as much, no. This person is feeling that, you know what, I can grow out of all of these things. I feel pretty optimistic. I can do it. Sure, they'll be experiencing everything that I said without Jupiter. However, because of Jupiter aspect, it has been decreased by 50 to 60%. Okay. Now let's look at another chart. Now look at this. Same thing, same exact chart, but now you have Jupiter in conjunction with Moon in the 12th house in the sign of Gemini. And Jupiter is 1 degree apart with Moon. Is this a afflicted moon or not? Is it not? What am I going to say? I don't know. Maybe I should wait like 5 seconds. Yes, this is extremely afflicted moon. Extremely afflicted moon. First, you have all the negative aspects on the moon. As I told you, Mars from Scorpio, Saturn is debilitated, Ketu is chaotic in the 8th house. Okay, but now Jupiter takes a different role. He's no longer Guru Nanak. He's no longer Sai Baba. Now Jupiter is simply an agent of expansion. Because first, for this ascendant, Cancer ascendant, Jupiter is a functional malefic because his Mool Trikon sign is in the 6th house. That means he's bringing obstacles, hurdles, deaths, diseases upon the mind. Diseases of the mind. Second, the reason why it's specifically harming the moon. It can be functional malefic, but it may not harm the moon. But the reason why it's harming the moon, I don't know if you paid attention, I put ascendant degrees in this chart. Ascendant degrees in this chart is 18.5. So the person was born when the ascendant rising sign Cancer was at 18.5 degrees. And Jupiter being literally 1.5 degrees away from the ascendant and 1 degree away from the moon, what it does, it bloats the moon over, it expands the moon's quality. So whatever is happening to the moon, it's expanding that side. So because moon was in the 12th house of imagination, becoming crazy with all these aspects, now Jupiter is inflating that. This could be a chart of somebody who is, schizophrenic, just mentally crazy, somebody who sees things, or somebody who really has experienced things in their life and nobody's willing to believe them, and they might be put into, asylum or something, because 12th house is asylum. That's where Jupiter is taking an expanding moon. So this was an afflicted moon. Okay. So in this case, I won't say it's a Guru Nanak. I will say it's actually, Jupiter is probably putting more stress because of bringing deaths, obstacles, enemies. Okay. Wife is calling. So now last one. Let's go back to our number third chart. Okay. Where you saw that in the third chart that I showed it was not a good sign because Mars was aspecting with his 8th sign. Rahu was aspecting from his 12th house in the sign of Scorpio. Saturn was putting responsibility on the moon. But now I put Jupiter there. Is Jupiter helping the moon? Yes, Jupiter is helping the moon. Even in this case, if Jupiter was conjunct moon, Jupiter would have helped moon because Jupiter is not a functional malefic anymore. Okay. But because of his aspect, Jupiter puts an optimistic. What this person will do, I'll tell you right now, this is how cool this stuff is. What this person will do, they will try to make lemon out of lemonades in the 8th house. If this person gets all the obstacles, responsibilities, scary thoughts, scary demonic, feelings and experiences, what just Jupiter will do that, that's fine. I will still steer through. This stuff is happening. They will ignore the things. They're still happening. They will still feel the panic attacks. But what this Jupiter's aspect is doing is making them ignore it. They're like, no. So this chart is not as afflicted. It's being saved. But will this person do better in foreign lands? Yeah, absolutely. Because they will be able to recover the rest of the part that they lost with all the negative aspects. But remember, it doesn't change it all the way. You have to still see what Mahadasha the person is running, what Charadasha person is running. But this is something I wanted to show you, that how aspects and conjunction can literally set a tone for a single planet. This is what I do. This is what I have been doing. And so now you know, there's literally, I can give 50 more scenarios, completely different scenarios of an afflicted moon, but I don't have the time because my editing software does not allow me to go further than this without giving me like 100 error messages. So, we'll be covering this in the future for sure. Trust me, the way you think, I know how you think. When I look at your chart, like I do career consultation, I look at the moon, I know exactly what's happening. I know what you're thinking inside. I know how you're thinking inside. I know what you're thinking inside. So guys, this was my analysis of an afflicted moon in horoscope. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below or anywhere you see subscribe button. And as always, if you need to know if your moon is afflicted and all the planetary placements in your horoscope, for that, check out the links here and check out my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, which you do need in order to understand this concept, because there's a lot more to aspect than what I just even described here. All right, see you later.